I went, for example, to Wilhelmshaven, which is the place that they built an incredible LNG plant. They permitted it in 60 days, and they completed the construction in just over 130 days for a total of 200 days. The Russians invaded Ukraine in February of 2022. By May, the permits had been granted, and before Christmas, the project was completely done on December 23rd. Shipments began in January of the subsequent year. To put that into perspective, that's 200 days to go from concept to completion. Mark Carney has been Prime Minister twice that time, and he hasn't even permitted a single new pipeline. His Major Projects Office, despite having unprecedented powers, has not permitted a project of any kind in all of the time he's been in office. Now, none of the gas that the Germans are bringing in comes from Canada. All of it comes from the United States, and that is because in the last decade, the Americans have built 8 LNG export terminals. We've built 1 that was permitted by Prime Minister Stephen Harper, and we have none on the East Coast. In other words, we can't even reach Europe with our gas, despite the fact that we have more than the Americans, that it's cheaper to liquefy here due to our cold weather, and it takes half the shipping time to go from the East Coast of Canada to Germany than it takes from the US Gulf Coast. Shorter shipping, less energy requirement, more abundant resources, and yet we're delivering 0 under this Liberal government, while the Americans are delivering 95% of German natural gas needs. That means we cannot replace any Russian gas to our European allies. Instead, the Liberals have signed a 2022 MOU to ship boatloads of hydrogen over to Germany. You all remember that MOU? We haven't shipped a single tablespoon of hydrogen, even though the delivery date was supposed to be 2025, which proves that once again, these MOUs, which get great fanfare and wonderful media coverage, are meaningless PR stunts, stagecraft, not statecraft. Speaking of theater, the Prime Minister has taken 4 different positions on the war in the Middle East in 4 days. He was for the attack. Then he said he regretted his support for the attack. Then he said his support for the attack was illegal. Then he said he was open to contributing Canadian troops to the war. And then he said his party has said one thing to one group and another thing to other groups. All they are doing is trying to pander in all directions while dividing our country and confusing our allies.